Yeah,
I'm,
this won't
is
happen
this,
again.
no, I don't think so. I think you guys are now ready for it and you can catch it
Yes,
as it
yes,
happens. I think we were all
yes. Now
caught
we are ready.
unawares with it. So, yeah, so it's
Yep,
fine.
yep. We learn from our mistakes. We are
Yeah.
getting better every day. Yep.
Oh, yes, that's part of the learning curve when it's a startup of the beginning of something really great. So yeah, we
Yes.
take we
Yeah.
take the good and the bad and we put them all together and we build something phenomenal. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. Very
Oh,
true.
thank
Okay.
thank
Okay.
you.
So
Yeah. Thanks a
enjoy
lot.
enjoy
I
your
will do.
class. Bye bye.
I will do.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
All right, we are live streaming now. Welcome to my class on animals of Australia, the first of two classes. I hope that you are going to enjoy them. We will be starting in about 3 minutes when the first people come in. So get yourself a cup of coffee, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy. Hi, Donna. Love your dog. Is that your own dog? That is so gorgeous. Welcome to class. Lovely to have you. Hoping that there will be a lot more joining us. There should be 10 or 11 people coming into class today. So we should have a really interesting class. I'd love to know where you come from. If you don't want to talk, can you type it for me so I know where in America or Australia or New Zealand you are at the moment? Right. Okay. I Here comes Karen. Hi, Karen. Lovely to
Oh,
have. Hi, lovely to have you back in class. Awesome. You're back. And Sandra's joining us too.
Yes.
Lovely to see there. A few changes from the last time you saw this particular presentation. I've added some other things as usual. Knowing me, I never keep anything the same. All right, Donna, you're from Baltimore. Lovely to have you. And your dog is so cute. Hi, Sandra. Lovely to have you. Whereabouts are you from? Anybody got anything ideas? Karen's been with me before, so I know Karen. And it's lovely to have people in class. There are due to be a lot more. But in the meantime, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start. We'll just wait a minute or two before I start sharing because I'd like to greet everyone. Karen, I've added some extra different types of kangaroo to this. I decided I was going to put them with the second group. And then I thought, no, we'll keep all the kangaroo in one place. Otherwise, we're going to have kangaroo in, kangaroo out, and so on. Hi, Sandra. Lovely to have you. Where are you from, Sandra? She's got her voice on, but okay, no problem at all. Right, if you do want to speak, please feel free to talk at any time. If you don't want to put your camera on and you can't remember where to press your mute or unmute, just press your space bar. Your space bar then allows you to be able to speak. When you lift your hand off the space bar, it then automatically mutes you again. So it's a very useful thing when you want to just interject something or add something or ask a question. So we will go with that from there. It's now 4 minutes past. I think I'm going to start sharing my screen. My TA hasn't come in today. I'm supposed to have a lady named Kim. She will be my TA and will help if I don't see you chatting or anything is different, then we will be able to, she will be able to help us. So let me start sharing my screen with you. We are going to be talking today mainly about, in fact, totally about marsupials. There's one animal that is related to the marsupials, and we will talk about him right at the end. Right, we've got our Australian wild animals. One of the ones that everybody talks about, of course, is the koala. He is such a beautiful little creature. I have my own little koala, which I use in my teaching classes because he's so expressive and can do so many things. Right, now we're going to start. Whoops, I've lost there we go. Lost it for a second. There we go. Get Set Up helps us to learn useful skills from people. And I learn in every class. People ask me questions, things I don't know, and I go off and I find out other people can answer those questions, which is also so nice when other people can also answer the questions. So we live and learn from each other. You can request a recording after the class. It will be in my email as well as on the last page, but it's help@getsetup.io. If you're joining by live streaming, we are live streaming today. People will be popping in and out with their cup of coffee just to see what we're doing. The best way to participate is to register and join the class. Get Set Up's not paid to promote any specific products. So if anything is mentioned, it's purely something that I use or I have. Right, a little bit about me is I live in Perth, Australia. At the moment, it is midday, which is probably midnight for a lot of you or close to midnight. I really appreciate the fact that you've stayed up so that you can listen to the lesson. I've been an educator for 44 years, and I really enjoy creating and making things, including puzzles. I have a great love for animals. That's why I do my Australian animals and my African animals. Africa is my root. I come from South Africa. I lived there for 63 years before relocating to look after grandchildren 3 years ago. And I really enjoy being part of the Get Set Up team. They are a wonderful group of people. Now, we've got our Australian wildlife. We're going from the cute and cuddly, such as the koala, to the rather strange, and we do have a few scary animals as part of our group today. We are going to only talk about marsupials because Australia has this amazing group of marsupials, more than anywhere else in the world. And most of our marsupials are not found anywhere else. There's one that you may recognize, which is your possum. You call it in all my research in America, it was called an opossum. And in Australia, it's called a possum. But people have since told me, no, in America, we also just call them a possum. We've got plenty of different possums in Australia. We have our very scary Tasmanian devil. We have the wombat going around the picture. We've got the koala. We've got the cutest, sweetest little creature called quokka. We have our kangaroo, and we have another little beautiful creature called a bandicoot. And in fact, I've got my own bandicoot that comes to visit every day in my garden. So he is really special to us. And so is she. There are two of them, and she's had babies. We've seen them in the pouch. As you know, marsupials raise their offspring from the size of a jelly bean. Pop a jelly bean out of my jelly bean jar. Yeah, they're usually pink. So let me choose a pink one. They grow from that size. And that is when they are born, they emerge from their mum at this size. Then they crawl up through the fur into the pouch where there are then the teats for them to be able to drink and grow. Only once they are big enough will they emerge from the pouch, and often will live in the pouch for even longer, just coming out whenever they feel safe. And as soon as they feel safe, they'll pop out for a while. If they're not safe, they hop back into the pouch. It's like a little home away from home where they can be until they are old enough to live on their own. Sometimes the pouch faces upwards, which is what happens with most of the marsupials, but some of them, the pouch faces downwards, and there's a very good reason for that. But we will come to it as we do the different animals. All right, our first beautiful creature is our koala. He is gorgeous. We have two types of koala that live in Australia, the brown koala and the grey koala. And they live mainly along the east coast of Australia. I have put a map on every page of where they live, of where the creature lives or where the animal lives, except if they live all over. Then it's not worth putting a picture. But you get the idea of where they live. They live mainly on the east coast. The grey koala in the south and the brown koala are in the north. These in the center, you can see the size of the baby koala when it's born. It is really minute. And then they go into mom's pouch and grow. Very important, they cannot eat what mom and dad eat. Eucalyptus leaves are poisonous to a baby koala. They grow to about 6 months before, 6 to 7 months before they can start eating the eucalyptus leaves. They live purely on milk. One of the interesting things, the reason why koalas are so slow is the same thing goes for a panda and also for a sloth. The food that they eat takes so long in the digestive system to be digested that they have to sleep for a long period of time. If they don't, they will actually get sick and die. They usually sleep for about 20 hours of a day and are only really active for about 4 hours. They never have to leave their tree if they don't want to, because they don't drink water. They use the liquid from the eucalyptus leaves, and that is sufficient liquid for them. So they don't have to go in search of water at any time. So they're very happy living in their tree, and sometimes they will just tootle up and down the same tree for years. That's their place. But they will move if needed. But they don't move fast, and that's why they are threatened whenever there's a bushfire, because they can't move fast. They're herbivores living entirely on the leaves of gum trees, the eucalyptus one being the main one. All baby marsupials are called joeys, and they live in their pouches when they are still small. Gestation periods of most of the marsupials is 30 days, around about 30 days. There is one that is a lot less. And koalas live for 13 to 18 years. So they live to a really good age for animals. Any questions?
Yes, why is it that it's only the part of Australia that we find the koalas?
Because you don't get eucalyptus leaves on the west coast. I'm not sure why, but we don't have eucalyptus on the west. I haven't seen one. Maybe I've seen one or two, but we certainly don't get eucalyptus trees on the west coast. And that's their main source of food. So that's where they stay on the west. We have a few in sanctuaries where they are free to move around, but the trees are grown especially for them so that they are able to be there. The one fantastic thing about Australia is animals and humans live in harmony. I have never known a country, having come from Africa, where we've got a lot of animals too, where the wildlife is given priority. If they are going to be crossing the road, there are big signs that say this animal's crossing the road, and if it is crossing the road, you stop. You let the animal cross, and then you continue. And people are very happily live in harmony with the animals. So for me, that is something really special. Now, the kangaroo, we have them all around us. About 500 meters from us, there are quite a few kangaroo. They live wherever there is grass for them to eat. They live around the houses. They're very comfortable around humans. And so they come and go. In fact, there's a lovely family that come and eat outside the hospital in Rockingham, which is just south of us. And so people who are busy recuperating can go and stand at the window and watch the kangaroos while they eat. And I think that is so nice that humans and animals can live in the suburbs, because I live in the suburbs, and yet the animals are quite happily living amongst us. And that's special. The two pictures on the left are actually my own personal pictures. The top one is a female kangaroo. You can see they are smaller. And if they feel that they don't know you enough, and you start walking towards them, they just hop away and go and find a bit of bush and stand in the bush till you go away, and then they come back out. But the male kangaroo is huge. I was very daunted by him. He was really, really big. When he stands up, is well over 2 meters tall, and he is very strong. You can see his back legs are absolutely solid, and his big tail. He can travel at 56 kilometers an hour, which is about 34 miles an hour. And his jump is 9 meters long. That's basically 3 children end to end, or across a highway road. That is 9 meters. So you have got these enormous jumps that he can take if he wishes to. So the kangaroo can really motor. He can, or she can move when they need to. They say there are more kangaroos than humans in Australia, and I can quite imagine that because the kangaroos are everywhere. As you can see, there are different types. You get the Western grey, which is where I live. You get the red kangaroo in the center, and you get the Eastern grey on the eastern coast. So you do get a lot of kangaroo all around Australia. They live for up to 20 years in captivity, 6 years in the wild, mainly because of meeting with an accident with a vehicle, or a dingo are a problem for them. But that's really what the biggest problems are. A group of kangaroo are called a mob, which I think is very cute. A male is called a boomer, and he does boom. I mean, he's huge. He's also called a big boy. I was first told to look out for the big boys, and I thought, big boys, what do they mean, big boys? Well, I saw him and realized that's a big boy. So but their proper name is a boomer. Any questions on the normal kangaroo before I go on?
Do they intermix together? Do they breed together or not? So,
Which is different types of kangaroo, or
yeah,
these
like
ones?
the
The red and the grey. I've never actually learned about that, but I would say possibly there will be some mixing if their territories cross. But I think naturally they stick to their own groupings. But that's a good question, Karen. I'll go and discover that answer, and next time be able to tell you.
Okay, I also have a quick question too. I've been down to Phillip Island, and I stopped over in one of the sanctuaries. I saw an albino. One is albino. It's a rarity. It's a wallaby.
Yes, yeah. Any animal or any human that's an albino are rarities. They are not. It's just in their genes when they were conceived that they become an albino. But no, they're not. They're not the norm. They are a rarity.
Yeah, well, it was an adorable one. It was an 18-month-old wallaby. It's really cute. Yeah.
Wallabies are really cute. They're
Yes.
just that much smaller and that much cuter. Now
Yeah,
these are the tree kangaroo. You only find them in a very, very tiny area up in Queensland. They live in the trees, and they are quite rare because people have diminished their living area by building houses, building homes. And so they live in the forests up in the top corner of Queensland. There are two different types. There's the Lumholtz and there's the Bennets. The Bennets, there are more of them. Those are the only two species that are found in Australia. There are other species found in other parts of the world. They've got very fluffy skin. They grow to only 60 centimeters, which is 2 rulers, not very big. And they weigh about 7 kilos. So they're very different to the ordinary kangaroo that we see. And they live permanently in the trees. They're quite shy. And they're very, very important to the rainforest because they help to distribute the seeds and keep the rainforest going. They eat leaves, fruit, bark, eggs, young birds, flowers, and sap. And they live about 15 to 20 years. So they live for a fair length of time, but their habitat has definitely decreased. And as soon as the habitat decreases, the number of animals decrease. It's a natural thing that happens. So we do have to be careful not to totally destroy their habitat, because then they will become extinct. Any questions? Rather beautiful creatures, aren't they? Right. Now, little wallabies and wallaroos. Some of them are called wallaroos and some of them are called wallabies. And wallaroos are found all over Australia, while the whippet wallaby is only found on the east coast. There are up to 30 different species of wallaby, much smaller than a kangaroo. They go from the size of a rabbit, some of them, to 2 meters. So some of them can be really big, but on the whole, a lot of them are the smaller ones. Those are the ones we usually see, the ones that are smaller than a kangaroo. They've got a soft woolly fur, and underneath is nice and light compared to the top. And the name wallaby comes from the Aboriginals, the people who lived here originally. They've got many stories about them, and they tell that they're all part of their folk tale are the wallabies. They don't like people very much. They prefer to be away from people. They would live in a woodland area, little forests, but they do eat grass, so they've got to be able to find grass as well. They live on small plants and grass. And they live from 11 to 14 years in the wild. Any questions? You can see some have big ears, some have smaller ears, some have round ears. They're all different shapes of wallaby, but when you know that there are 30 different sorts, you can understand why. Okay, now let's see. My second favorite. The one that lives in my garden, he's my favorite because he lives there. But the quokka is the most adorable little animal. He looks like he's smiling all the time. No matter where you see him, he's got a smile on his face. So he is really special. Hi, Mary. Lovely to have you join us. Great to see you. All right. Where did I go? I've jumped a page. Sorry. My quokka. They live only in West Australia and mainly on 2 islands. There are only a few on Bald Island near Albany, that's in the south, but the majority of them live on Rottnest Island, just near Perth. There are some on the mainland as well, but the majority of them live on Rottnest. And the children all go there for their time when they are on camp. And they love the quokkas. They are in and out, and all celebrities go and have photos with the quokka because they are very friendly animals. They only grow to 50 centimeters, so just a bit longer than a ruler, not very tall at all. And they weigh 4 kilos, so they are up to 4 kilos. So they are really cute, gorgeous little animals. They are herbivores, and so the children are safe with all the snacks that they brought from the mainland because they're not interested in eating the sweets and other things that they have. They have their little pouch in the front, and they just look like a miniature kangaroo in a way, but the smiley face is the thing that everybody loves because they just smile all the time. It's just a very, very beautiful one. It's also gorgeous to see the little baby popping out from the bottom. That first picture is a very common picture to see. This little smiley face looking out while mummy is busy bouncing along. So it's really cute. Any questions about the quokka? Okay, now we're moving on to the wombat. He is the size of a medium-sized dog. He is about 1 meter long and he weighs up to 30 kilograms. So he's quite a hefty animal to hold when he's fully grown. The baby is really ugly. It's like a swan. You know, baby swan is not that attractive, but as soon as it becomes an adult, it's beautiful. And the same goes for the wombat. He is just, or she is just the most gorgeous animal. The one very different thing about a wombat is their pouch does not face up. because they dig. They're one of the digging marsupials. And if you are to dig, you're going to put all the sand in your pouch, and your baby's going to be covered in sand and smothered by sand. So their pouch is upside down. So the baby looks out through the back rather than looking out through the front. It must be a bit awkward when mom is sitting, but that is how they do it. It's for the safety of the baby and to keep sand and dirt out of the pouch. Because wombats live underground. That is their favorite home. And so they do dig a lot. They are herbivores. And they live for about 5 years in the wild because of their size. The eagles, the dingoes, many animals would use them as prey. And so they don't live that long in the wild, but certainly in captivity, they live a long time. They walk like a duck. They waddle when they walk, but they can run up to 25 miles an hour for about a minute or a minute and a half. So they can escape from something in a hurry if they need to. But they are big, cuddly dogs, as far as I'm concerned. The face on a wombat is really gorgeous. They are mainly on the East Coast. We don't see wombats on the West Coast. I think the big desert between ourselves and the East Coast makes a difference for the animals getting from place to place. But it looks like some of them are starting to go to Southern Australia, and maybe they will start coming into WA. There are 1 or 2 spots that they are found. Any questions?
Are there different types of wombats? I noticed this, the face.
No, it's just I think it's just the way it's being held, the big one, the way he's being held. I think we're seeing him absolutely straight on. But no, there's just, as far as I know, one type of wombat, one species of wombat. Right. Now, the bandicoot. This is my favorite because he comes and she come every day to help themselves to some dog pellets. We've now actually put their own little bowl out because we don't put out for our dogs anymore during the day, but the bandicoot needs to have. So there's a little bowl for the bandicoot, and we put that out every day. They come usually in summer, they used to come during the daytime, but now they usually come at dusk. They're not scared of us at all. In fact, the one time, the one nearly tripped my husband up because it decided to come out from underneath the chair, and he didn't see it. The poor little thing got a bit of a pat from the foot, but it was totally unintentional. But and we talked to them through the door. And we have our front door open and we can still talk to them. They look up and then they carry on eating. At the top of our road, there is the sign that says Bandicoot Crossing, caution. And if a bandicoot is crossing that road, you stop. Bandicoot crosses and then you continue. And it's one of the main roads in the suburb. So the animals have right of way. We are also fortunate we have a small forest 50 meters from my back door. And so there are a lot of bandicoot living there, but there's one in particular who likes our garden. I'm hoping we're just re-landscaping it with lots of gnomes. I'm hoping he's going to enjoy the new garden too. But they are really cute. There are 20 different species. And the bilby, the one with the very long ears, is often featured at Easter time because of its ears. It looks rather like a rabbit. And so it's got these very long ears. And so it is the Australian rabbit as such, because we don't have rabbits here. They did have, and then they seem to have died out. And we now have bandicoot and other animals instead. So they live for about 3 years, but their speciality is that their gestation period is 12 days. From time of conception to when the baby comes out, it is 12 days. And then this little baby is kept from 8 to 10 weeks in the pouch before it starts popping its nose out. And then it is fully grown in 5 months. That's because their lifespan is so short. They grow to about 30 centimeters maximum. Ours are not as long as 30 centimeters, and they can weigh up to 700 grams. Ours is the brown bandicoot, but really, really cute. Any
Do they make a lot of
questions?
noise?
No.
No, they don't.
No, no,
Oh, okay.
they don't make a lot of noise at all. Very quiet little creatures. Now, the Tasmanian devil. He is a scary creature. He might be small, but he is scary. He is the largest carnivorous marsupial. They are very grumpy. They are feisty little creatures. They will fight anything. And so they are amazing. They are very small. They are the size of 2 rulers. So they're not a big animal. They really are not a big animal. And they weigh about 8 kilos. So they're not a heavy animal either. But they will fight anything twice their size if it comes into their territory or if it is going against their family. They're very territorial. They were found on the mainland of Australia, but nowadays they are only found in Tasmania, which is fine. I'm happy with it, other than in a zoo. Interestingly, the mother gives birth to about 20 to 30 little babies, but she's only got 4 teats. So from the beginning, they have to fight to survive. Only the fittest survive. A handful will make it, the rest will die. So right from the start, you have to be fighting for your place in this world, in the Tasmanian devil world. And they can they live 5 to 6 years in the wild and 8 years in captivity. But at night, you only see the white teeth and the white band. When it's dark, it's like seeing a lion in South Africa. You don't want to see it in the night because they are a carnivore. I haven't heard of them attacking people or killing people, but certainly if you went into their territory and you were near their babies, they would attack you like anybody. You would attack anything that is going to hurt your family. So they are not an animal I would like to meet in the wild. Any questions? They live underground. That's one thing I forgot to say. But the little babies look rather cute, but I think I would be careful. Right, now, the possum. Now, you've got possums in America. We have 23 different types of possums in Australia. And the first possum I met, I thought it was a mouse. It was sitting at the top of a plant and it was busy eating we have a lot of plants that have nectar at the top. And it was sitting eating the nectar. And I thought, oh, look, there's a little mouse on top. I didn't know mice ate nectar until I realized that this was a possum. And he couldn't have been bigger than that. He was just too cute for words. Really, really tiny. Possums actually grow from anything from 8 centimeters, or some of them, up to some of them that are 40 centimeters. So you get the big ones and you get the little ones. But mostly where I live, we have the little ones. Seen a couple of the little ones. They are just too sweet. The honey possum, the bush-tailed possum are just the sweetest possums. I love the one with the bushy ears. I haven't seen him myself, but I know that they are around. Some of them even look like what you call a chipmunk, or we would call a squirrel. So some of them have the stripe and they really look like something different to the others. You get pygmy possums. They're also very small, very, very cute. Some of them are out during the day. Some of them are out during the night. A lot of them are nocturnal, but we see ours during the day. And now we know what we're looking for. When we see something up in the top of the tree going into competition with the birds, when the bottlebrush is out, that's when it's fun and games, because the birds are there, including a number of really beautiful parrots. They love the bottlebrushes. We get black parrots, we get bright green parrots, we get green, black-head, yellow neck, green-bodied, red-chested. We just get the most amazing parrots living around us. We see them every day. And they love the bottlebrush. So when that's out, so do the little possums. So we get a variety of creatures coming to help themselves to the bottlebrush. So it's just coming into flower around about now. So we're looking forward to sitting on our veranda or our patio and watching the animals. We have a small garden, but a very beautiful garden. My husband I know what I want. He's got the green fingers, so it works beautifully as a team. We've got frogs. At night, we have an absolute chorus of frogs that live in the garden. So we really are fortunate. We have a variety of things. Possums live up to 11 years, and I love what they call a group of possums. A group of possums are called a passel of possums, and I think that is just so cute. A passel of possums, they live in hollow trees. They live in bushes. They live all in different places. And they eat eucalyptus leaves. That's in the east. On my side, they eat nectar, flower, fruit. They eat a variety of things on my side. Any questions about the possums? Right. We're coming to the strangest animal in the world. He is, when first discovered, people thought somebody had been cruel and put different animals together, but then they discovered that wasn't the case. He is part of the marsupial family, but he is different. The duck-billed platypus actually lays an egg. And this egg then is, he and the echidna are the only two mammals that lay eggs. The echidna's egg is actually laid in a pouch inside the body, but the duck-billed platypus makes its own pouch around its baby, and it keeps it in that pouch until it is ready. So when the egg hatches, the baby goes into the homemade pouch as such. There are nipples there for them to drink the milk, and that is how it stays until it reaches a size where it is able to fend for itself. During that time, the mother doesn't eat. It just looks after this baby in this homemade pouch. Duck-billed platypus has very interesting feet, as can be seen in the bottom left-hand corner. It has a giant webbed foot for swimming, because that's where we find them most of the time. But when it walks on land, that web can get shredded. So what it does is it takes the web into the foot and walks on the nails. When it's ready to swim again, the web comes out again and off it goes back into the water. So it's a very, very clever system. They are made up basically of a duckbill, which is its front nose. It's got webbed feet, almost like a bird, like a fish. It's got that like fins that can work. It's got a beaver tail, and then it also has fur all over its body. The male is poisonous. He has one nail on the back of his leg, back of his back foot. If you get scratched by that, that does have poison in it. Females are not poisonous at all. But you're very unlikely to come across a platypus. They don't like people. They like to live as far away from other people and animals as they can. They live in a very small area of the world. Only you can see on the East Coast, and they are only found where there is fresh water, certain types of fresh water, and also in the estuaries where the fresh water and the seawater combine. You will also find them there, but very, very few. The bill is soft. It feels like suede leather. They are carnivores. They don't like to eat grass and plants, so they eat fish, small insects, small things that they can find. Basically, like a duck, they will eat fish, and small water creatures will be their main meal. They lay the egg, and as I say, it's only the duckbill platypus and the echidna are the only two animals that are mammals that lay eggs. We'll talk about the echidna in the next class. Both of these animals are found in Australia only. Australia has a plethora of animals. There are so many beautiful ones. And then they keep it warm until 10 days. When it hatches, the bean-sized baby will be nursed for 3 to 4 months, kept in the fur of the mom. All right, any questions? Anybody want to know anything more? Oh, the size of a platypus is surprising. People think they're quite long. They're less than 2 rulers in length. They're 50 centimeters usually in length, and they only weigh 1.5 kilos. They're very light. They're a light animal. And so they probably, if you think about a duck is also a light animal, and they've got some of the features, although they're not a duck, they've got some of the features of a duck. Anything else anybody would like to know before we finish the presentation?
Can he open the bill very wide when he eats, or how does it work?
It only opens to about that. It'll be able to fit a fish.
Oh,
a fish would be able to go into it. It
Because it
doesn't
looks
need
big
more.
for his face.
Yes, it does look very big for its face. It's a long beak, but it doesn't open that wide. It just opens enough to be able to take a fish in through its mouth. Of course, being a mammal, it breathes air, so it can't live under the water, but it spends a lot of its life in the water. That's its chosen habitat, is in the water. Anything else? Right. Well, thank you, everyone. We will be doing a second one. If you enjoyed this one, I have a second one on the other animals of Australia, including a few more marsupials because there are just so many of them. In fact, that's tomorrow. I have a class on the second Australian animals. They're following each other this time. I will be talking about the echidna, which is in your top right-hand corner, the horny devil, which is just below him. He lives in the desert. He's a lizardy type creature. We've got the dingo, the crocodile, and then the most dangerous bird in the world, which is the cassowary. And then my all-time favorite, the little fairy penguin. He is beautiful. He's tiny. He is the cutest animal. We have them here in Perth, and we go and see them, and they are just too beautiful indeed. So if you would like to add some comments, if you'd like us to do more or less, or there's more information you would like, please put it into our feedback. Then we are able to make the lessons even more exciting for you. I will put a link to the feedback in my email, which you'll get after the lesson. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. If you want to get a recording, you can request it at help@getsetup.io. Others in my series are more wild animals of Australia, and then 2 in a series on Africa. They are both available next month. The 2 African ones will be running next month together with the Australian ones. So there's lots to do with animals. And of course, if you do like wild animals, particularly the African ones, you can watch them live. At the waterholes, there are certain websites that you can go to where you can actually go to the live feed cameras and watch the animals coming to the waterholes. And that is really beautiful to see and do as well. I'm going to stop sharing now, and thank you very much for being part. I hope you learned something. I hope you were able to get some information that maybe you didn't have before. Anybody got any final comments they'd like to make? Mary Lou?
It was very nice.
It was really great.
Yes, great. Very nice. Informative.
Great. I'm glad you were able to enjoy it and hear all the different things. Great. Yes, Karen.
Are you in Australia?
Yes, I live in Australia. I live in Perth, Australia. I was in South Africa for 63 years, and now I live in Perth. I've been here nearly 3 years. So yes, I live here. I have a forest next to me. I have the sea nearby. I have a park in front of me. I have animals that come in and out of my garden. They come in and out of everybody's garden. Everybody just accepts that the animals come first, and that is awesome. I have awesome types of frogs. I've got toads. I've got frogs. I've got one called a motorcycle frog. He comes in and out of my garden, and it's just too beautiful.
Oh my goodness, Sue, you're so busy.
The sounds that are in my garden in the early evening are amazing. We actually recorded it the other day, and my husband sent it to his daughter in England, and she played it and the cat ran away. The noise was just too loud for the cat. So, it really is, it's amazing. It's beautiful. My dogs are very happy with the animals around as well. They're both French bulldogs, but the little girl is much smaller than the boy, but she thinks she's a Rottweiler. She thinks she can chase anything, anything that moves in the forest. So it is really beautiful. So that is so great. Who's this? Donna. Donna, great. So you've been in Australia, and so you love animals. And I hope that you've been to South Africa too, and I hope that you'll be able to learn some more about my South African animals that we find as well. Well, ladies, thank you so much. I really appreciate you all being part of the class. It's been amazing. It's always nice to have people interacting either by typing or by reading, talking to me. Both make for an interaction, and that's what is almost more important than the information, is the sharing of what you've got, what you know. So thank you very much. I hope to see you all. Have a lovely evening, and some of you I might even see tomorrow when we do, I think it's earlier, I think it's an hour earlier or 2 hours earlier than the one that's on today. Is my Animals of Africa, of Australia. I think it's at 10 o'clock my time instead of 12 o'clock. So it'll be 2 hours before is my more Animals of Australia. Lots of interesting ones there. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.